Hello, welcome. I'm Celeste, the owner and founder of the Arachne Project blog. I'm an intuitive writing coach, and today I'm here to do a tarot reading for you today. This is going to be a collective reading. So if you're new to tarot online, then what you need to know is that this reading may or may not resonate for everybody that watches it. However, I think if the title resonated for you, then the reading is probably going to resonate for you at least a little bit. So what that means is that you should disregard any parts of the reading that don't resonate for you. Look for the pieces that seem to really line up with your experience, that seem to feel just right for you, and take those pieces and leave the rest. The other thing that you need to know about most tarot readings, or at least mine, is that my intention is that they are timeless. That means that they're not just good when I post them. They're good anytime you watch them and they resonate. So if you're watching this a year later after I posted it and it resonates for you then, but it didn't resonate for you a year ago, or maybe you didn't even see it a year ago, it's still the message that you need to hear right now. So the way that I like to do these readings is I don't usually have a question when I start. What I want to do is just pull some cards from the tarot deck, and that's going to get the start of a story, and it's going to kind of give us the theme or the problem that the person is having. I do read particularly for writers, but you could be any kind of a writer. Really, I work with people who write fiction. I write for nonfiction writers. If you're a copywriter, hey, whatever fits. If you feel drawn to watch, I'm happy to have you here. So I'm going to pull some cards out of the deck, and we'll start building on this theme and figure out what the story is and who this reading is for. I am using the Crow Tarot today. This is one of my favorite tarot decks. It's really beautiful if you've never seen it before. Okay, this card's been coming out a lot when I'm doing readings. We have the Three of Swords, and this one is in the reverse. So Three of Swords is a heartbreak energy, and this can be relational, or it can be, when we're talking about creativity, sometimes we get our hearts broken in creativity. So I'm not sure. We don't have enough cards on the table yet to know which this is. So I think you're coming out of that. There could be some healing going on, or you could be ready to let go of it. Ace of Wands. What I'm hearing is you're releasing some kind of disappointment, heartbreak, something that was probably pretty hurtful, but you're getting you have a new passion that you're moving toward, a new idea, or a new love. Wands is very much our creative energy. So this could very well be a new creative path, a new story idea, a new creative project. It's that spark of inspiration. We have the Ace of Wands. It's a new idea, a new, it's how everything feels when it's new. We have death in the reverse. So yeah, there's a rebirth that's coming up here. You're feeling, you're in that rebirth energy, I think, which is such a nice place to be. Really, when you've had this big disappointment, it's nice to feel like you're on the other side of it. I'm going to pull a few more just to get a fuller picture before we start reading the surrounding energies. There's been a lot of strife here, a lot of struggle. But this is not necessarily the bad kind of struggle. This is I want to say the playful struggle. This is like when you know that something is going to be hard work, but you're ready for it. You're ready to engage with that hard work. That said, it's not an easy energy. Okay. There's something about this new project that is stressing you out or scaring you a little bit. I don't know if you're actually losing sleep about it or not, but there is something a little scary here. This is kind of the Nine of Swords is kind of the losing sleep card. So you might figuratively be losing sleep over it or actually losing sleep over it. I don't know. Excuse me, I have a little, okay, so maybe that's a problem. Maybe you're having a little difficulty finding your voice here. What I am getting is that this is a creative pursuit. I'm not seeing anything here that strongly points to a relationship. So this is probably creative or business oriented. I'd like to see more about this. Can I just get a couple of cards about this thing in the past? What do you, what was disappointing that you're just getting over? Okay, we get the Magician. And the Nine of Wands. Okay, so I feel like this was something that was like it almost went all the way for you. It was a little overwhelming. I think that, okay, this is an interesting message. I feel like somebody was well positioned to be like succeeding here, but they were maybe like they could do it. The Magician always denotes that you can do something. It always denotes that you have that special something, that you are suited to this journey. But then we have the Nine of Wands, and the Nine of Wands is really about like defensiveness and overwhelm. So what I'm really seeing is somebody who was in their, like really kind of going all the way with their thing, and it didn't work out. Like something about this became overwhelming. Something about this put you on the defensive and knocked you back. And maybe it had you doubting that like readiness, preparedness, or power. And so there might have been a little bit of doubt about like whether you were going to be, whether this project was going to kind of get off the ground or not. This thing was going to get off the ground. But nevertheless, you do have the Ace of Wands here. So there is a new energy of something new coming in, and you coming out of that energy nicely. Like you're ready to fight another day. We have the Devil coming up here. This is a, I think there's fear here. With this new project, fear. I'm hearing fear that you might not be able to do it. Like it's going to be like the last time, that there might be more disappointment along this path. And you're not really sure, like you love this idea and you know that it's time to create again, to get back in the saddle and do it again. But your doubt is at a real high right now. That's what I'm seeing. Self-doubt. Yeah. And there's this fear also, I think, of that being visible, of other people seeing your doubt. You don't want to appear unconfident. You don't want everybody to see you in this energy. So when I'm seeing the Devil and the Six of Wands together, what I see is fear and something very public about that fear, something that is on display for others to see. And I think that you don't want anybody to know that you're afraid. You're trying to project confidence here, and you're not feeling that at all. Queen of Swords. Yeah, this is probably more how you're feeling right now. Like there's something about this where like, so the Queen of Swords is it's kind of a cold queen. She's very calculating, very in her mental capacity, but not really always in her heart center, not always super grounded. There's nothing wrong with the Queen of Swords, but paired with these other cards, with the Devil and with the Six of Wands, there's like a lot of overthinking going on here. Like you're strategizing and trying to figure out like how to move forward. You're calculating in your brain, and you're not really down in your heart space, or in your fire where you need to be, in your creative power where you need to be. Strategic energy. There's something here about too many choices. Okay. I think you know that you need to go forward with another project. Maybe you have a bunch that you can choose from, or maybe you've thrown a bunch kind of out there. Maybe you don't know which project to choose, or maybe you've thrown a bunch out there and you're waiting to see what comes back. You're waiting to see what other people want from you. That's part of your strategy, I think. But what I'm getting is that it's a little bit too scattered. There's a lack of clarity here. Like a couple of choices is good, but if you throw out 7 options, it's the 7 of Cups. If you throw out 7 options, people are going to be like, okay, what do you want to write? What is it that you actually want to write? And you're like, well, I could write this, or I could write this, or I could do this or that. You're not really clear on where you want to go next. You want to know what people want from you. Yeah. And the reason that you want to know what someone else wants from you is because you're resonating in a space of lack. You're resonating in a space of not having the thing that you want. So you're like, what can I write that is going to get me out of this feeling of not having enough? So that's kind of that's a difficult energy to be in. And so I see why that's stressing you out. And I see why it's a struggle, because that's not really flow energy that you're talking about. That's not the kind of energy that writes a really good book, actually, if you're a book writer. I think some of you might be. Like you really want to know what someone else wants from you so that you can please others, but you're not doing it to please yourself. And here we have the 3 of Wands reversed. So you're in a disempowered sort of, I'm going to call it a waiting energy. You're holding back, but not from a place of power. You're holding back from a place of uncertainty, when I think you just need to make a decision and go forward with it. But you're probably, when you're in this kind of state, I'm going to tell you what, when you're in this state that I'm seeing here on the table, you make a decision from your head space and not from your heart space, and certainly not from your creative, like inspirational place. You make one with your brain, and it's not usually the one that you want to be working on, and it doesn't always come out very good. Okay. The Knight of Wands. And the Ace of Swords. Okay. So here's what, again, this energy is a little bit conflicting. We have the Knight of Wands. This is your, sometimes referred to as the player of the deck. That Knight of Wands is that very passionate kind of lustful energy, that it wants to move forward, it wants to create, and it is taking action. But we have the Sword of Truth reversed. So you're not creating from a place of inner truth. or inner clarity. You're creating from a space of not bringing your authentic self to the table. And that is kind of a recipe for more pain, for more discomfort. What else do we need to know? What else does this viewer need to know, Spirit? Yeah. You need to bring your heart to this equation if you're going to move forward in a way that feels more authentic and good. You got to bring your heart to this situation. Get in touch with what it is that you want out of this. What do you love? What do you love to do? What makes you show up and write at your best? What makes you passionate and connected in your heart space to your writing? So this is what I'm seeing here is that you're going to have to leave these other ideas behind when you pick one. So that can be a little thing that scares us. When you pick one idea, you got to leave the rest of them behind. Okay. This guy is walking away from the other cups, going in search of the true cup here. So you're going to have to leave those other ideas behind. But what I'm seeing here is that it's disempowered walking away. So you're afraid to walk away. You're afraid to leave those other things because I don't know if you're afraid. You could be afraid that you're not going to get back to them or that you're picking the wrong thing. I'm not sure which it is. There's a lot of that kind of, I don't know what to do. So I'm just not gonna do anything. It's like a procrastination feeling that I'm getting from this. I feel like you're poised in that moment of knowing I need to do something now, but I'm not sure what it is. Like you have the drive and determination to do something, but you can't choose. Seems overwhelming. Okay. This is what you're afraid of, okay? You're afraid of getting shut down again. You're afraid that if you engage your heart and write the thing that you love, that other people are going to reject it again. So there's really this kind of fear that nobody wants what you love, which isn't true. I think you know that it's not true, but that doesn't stop the negative script from running in your head, if that makes sense. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy and we know it. You've got to get into this Queen of Wands energy, okay? This is the space you need to be in. If you can bring that Queen of Swords energy with the Queen of Wands, they can do something together. Okay, so the Queen of Wands is this passionate, creative side of you. This is the side of you that is the master or the mistress of your creativity. You are intuitively connected to what makes you tick creatively. This is a passionate energy. This is a highly creative energy. And when you combine this Queen of Wands energy with that strategic energy, like it takes it to a whole new level. Air feeds fire, right? It helps it grow. It helps sustain it. So those two energies are very compatible. But you've really got to bring your You got to bring your fire to this game. You can't just choose with your head. You're going to have to choose with what you feel passionate and creative about. Like just picking any idea isn't going to do. It's not going to get you through this. Okay. I'm going to pull one more to clarify this. Clarify the Four of Pentacles, please. Clarify the Four of Pentacles, please. Okay. Okay. I see this. I see this. You really want, like, there's something about this where you really want to make this, you're connected, not connected, you're attached to wanting this to earn you money. And you've been sort of, this is the Page of Cups. This is what's missing in the equation here. Like, you really want to be this King of Pentacles, and you've been trying to approach it from this logical, masculine standpoint of, I'm making money here. This is my job. And I will be creative. And we have that Queen of Swords. I will make the right choice. So you're approaching your creativity from a very, very directive, masculine space. You're like, and your heart is missing. Your heart is missing. You're not putting your heart in it. And you got to put your heart in it at least a little bit in order to get where you're trying to go. All right. I want to pull some cards. I'm going to switch decks here. We're going to pull some cards about what strength, like what do we need to plug, what do we need to kind of do to change the direction of this, because we see where you're heading. Where you're heading is to a little more conflict is what's going to happen unless you can kind of get your heart into this. You're going to keep having more of the same problems. The energy that you're wanting to be in is not what results from the energy that you are in. Like, this is about continuing the way that you've been going, or are you going to inject a little bit of heart into this project? So let's get some, let's look at some surrounding energies that we can use to influence us or head down a new path or do things a little differently. All right, there she is again. We got the Queen of Wands again. This is what this, so we've got this twice now, and this is who you need to be listening to. Okay, you need to listen a little bit more to this passionate queen than to the very sensible King of Pentacles. I'm not saying to get the King of Pentacles out of the creative process, but he is not the creator. He is the boss of the money when the money is coming in. Let him look over your contracts. Let him help you decide how to handle your money and the process of getting it out there into the world. But when you're in the creative space, this is the boss of the creative space. This is who you let run the show. Queen of Wands. That's the queen that shows up for her writing. That's the queen that writes what she wants to write. That is the queen that sits in her power and says, I'm going to show up for my art. And then I will make something out of the mess. Yes, yes. And we have the Magician again. Okay, this came up before. The Magician is saying, you know how to do this. And you have to stop overthinking it. Stop dragging it into the space that it is not. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make money from your creativity. And, you know, it's what all creatives struggle to do. It's part of our path. It's part of our soul journey. Yeah. We have this, this popped out upside down. We have this energy of like letting we feel like money's getting away from us. And what we really want is to be holding the coin in the end. These cards are saying that we have to get out of that scarcity mentality. Needing to control the process so much from start to finish is part of what creates that scarcity mentality, or what strengthens it. So this is the Strength card. This is about showing up in working on our inner strength, working on our confidence. The beast that we're taming here is really our, we're kind of taming our own need to control ourselves. It's the feminine. We have a feminine energy taming a lion. And here we have the Page of Cups. And this time he came out right side up. We saw the Page of Cups earlier. It's not a coincidence. A lot of these cards are coming out again because they're important. And that's what, so before this card came out reversed, and now it's coming out right side up. So what that tells us is that that's the energy that we need to correct. We need to turn it around. So we're bringing our heart-centered selves. This is the messenger of your heart coming into your writing process, coming back into your writing room, inviting the heart back into the writing room. There's going to be plenty of time to edit and shape and strategize later. But first we have to get out of our own way and make something. Yeah, get out of your own way and make something. 8 of Wands. Okay, this is letting it happen, letting that energy go. This is like fast moving. Sometimes we equate it with communication, even though communication is usually thought of as a mental, as a swords thing. There's something about the 8 of Wands that's very fast moving and it's getting things done. And so sometimes we associate this with passionate communication. So in writing, how that translates is the writing, the words going onto the page, the words coming out of you in the flow. There's a river in that card. In the flow. We have the 10 of Swords. Clarify the 10 of Swords. Okay. So again, we've got this, actually it's not the same queen. It's the Queen of Pentacles. She's in the reverse. We have the World. And we have the 10 of Swords. So we are we're done. We're not going to let ourselves worry about what the whole world thinks. We're not going to let ourselves worry about the money. We have to be done with that. We've got to put that aside. We've got to kind of kill that switch and put that aside. That's all stuff that you are probably going to worry about later, but you can't let it into your writing room. You can't let it stop you from writing the story in the first place. All of those doubts are going to creep in when they do, but you have to, you've got to be the boss of them, basically. That's the strength. You've got to tame that. That's the beast that you have to tame. We have the King of Wands. That is the mate to the Queen of Wands. And so the energy is one of integration. We're going to integrate our doing energy and our being energy to really embody that divine union, the divine integration of masculine and feminine creativity. the doing and the being. There it is. The Lovers, the integration, the union. When you can invite both of these energies into your creative process, this is what you get. This is when you're really like on fire for an idea and you're going with it and you're letting yourself be in love with the project. That's a very different energy than when you're going, I've got 7 projects and I can write any of them. Just tell me which one you want and I'll write it. That's a very different energy. Being in love with the project it has you poring over it. It has you spending long hours with it. It has you excited to get back to it. You're like running back to it each day. And there's something about this reading where you have gotten away from that feeling about your writing. You're not in love with it. You're not impassioned with your writing. You're not feeling that kind of connection that you used to feel for it. You're not letting yourself, because you've gotten all in your head about like, how can I get this thing to sell? How can I make the money that I want to extract from this? I need it to support me, or I need that money to do something. So the time is here. Okay. The time is here to change. And this is also about when you get into this union energy, this is when like opportunities. So the Wheel of Fortune, you can get a lot of things. This can be about this can be about time. It can also be about divine timing. It can also be like when things are lined up just so, then things start to happen in divine timing. That's when divine timing starts. Divine timing isn't like 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Divine timing is when it feels like it, when it's lined up, when we're integrated, when we're in union, when we're experiencing this passionate love affair with our lives. Then destiny slips in. The muse slips in. Destiny. Things can happen very fast. This is also like a serendipitous card where things start lining up and happening. And it's like way better than you could have ever planned when you were trying to pick between 7 projects. Like everything just lines up perfectly. You meet the right people that help you make the thing happen, and it flows. You are being invited to sort of clear the battlefield. You've made your writing a battlefield. I'm trying to think if I wrote a blog post about that one time, but you've sort of made your writing a battlefield, and you are being called right now to clear the battlefield and to fall in love with it again. I always talk about goddesses of love and war. It's not a coincidence that they are often one and the same, or that they come up in the same like topic. So in order to get back aligned with this sense of union where you're feeling very in the flow, where you feel that like magician energy in your writing, like, oh, I know how to do this. I have everything I need to do it. We've got to get off the battlefield. That doesn't happen on the battlefield. Another thing that is important to note about this card is he's clearing. Not only is he clearing the battlefield, so he's taking some of these swords and he's taking them with him. Okay, there's a few others left behind him, but he's taking some with him. So there's something that you learned in this process of struggle. We're not just going to trash the struggle, because there's something that you learned in this process that is big wisdom for you to take forward. And it's kind of your job or your right to claim that as your own spoils of your own creative sort of war. If I can take that metaphor a little too far, maybe, I don't know. I do get very metaphorical. All right, I'm going to pull just a couple more. I want to pull, tell me, is there anything else we need to know, Spirit? Let's just say that. Is there anything else we need to know? Yeah, This is where you're heading if you can do that. Okay, that's where the completion is. That is the fulfillment that you're looking for. This is you creating the true happiness in your creative process. Like sometimes we want to think it comes from money, and I'm not saying that money can't buy things that make you feel very happy in the moment. But what good is the money if we're not feeling fulfilled in the process as well? If we're not enjoying the process at all, what good is the winnings? The real goal is to have it all, right? And you can have it all. All right. We're going to go to, I'm going to pull a few guidance cards from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. Chaos and conflict. So we're not just watching and learning from chaos and conflict. We have to accept them as part of the creative process. Okay. So sometimes we're like, oh, I'm off the path. You're not really off the path. It's part of the path. Okay. We have to accept that chaos and conflict are part of the creative process, an integral part. And so if you're in the weeds right now, that's part of the process. So don't beat up on yourself too much about it. You got to accept that that's where you're at today. And you start thinking about, am I ready to make a different choice or not? Breathe. You're being reminded here to breathe. And that sounds so simple and so silly, but your breath is really, really important when you're feeling all of this kind of conflict energy. This is how we calm down from chaos and conflict. This is how we get back in the moment, because chaos and conflict always has us thinking about the past or about the future. And this is about being in the present moment. You can't be anywhere else when you're focusing on your breath. That's how you get in the present moment. Highly recommend breath work. And flexible. Got to be flexible. There's a difference between being, so like you might think that you're being flexible when you're throwing 7 projects out there into the world and saying, just tell me which one you'd like. That's not really being flexible. That's being indecisive. Okay. That is not you being decisive. That's you not really being flexible. You're being a little bit of a, I don't know, it's kind of disempowered energy. Flexibility is empowered. This is about going with the flow. This is about saying, this is the project I really want to work on right now. This is the one that's flowing for me, and I'm going to be flexible about how this unfolds. I'm going to let go of my attachment to the outcome that I think I want, and I'm going to lean into the outcome that is actually happening. That is what being flexible is really about. Really quick before we go, I'm going to grab a couple of crystals for guidance. And I got a, this is a malachite. This is about heart-centered connection. This is a beautiful feminine energy that is related to heart-centeredness. And this is carnelian. This is about staying in your, and this is a piece of carnelian that has a lot of quartz in it, so that amplifies the carnelian. So this is about getting connected to your inner fire. There was a lot of fire in this reading. And so they're saying to stay really, really connected. Keep that. So you're going to work your sacral chakra, that's the carnelian, and the heart chakra, which is malachite. All right, that's what I have for you today. I am not doing private readings, but if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, I do personal coaching sessions. You can reach out to me through my website. I do a couple of different types of coaching. I have a soul session, which is a spiritual tarot guided coaching session where we use tarot. I bring in energy work and lots of different things like that, crystal healing, Reiki, all of that good stuff. And I also have just personal coaching where we deal with your level of empowerment, clearing away resistance. That's a very practical, down-to-earth style of coaching. If you want to make an appointment with me, my details are down in the description box. And I hope you guys have a great day. I hope this reading's helpful for you. And I would be super happy if you liked, shared, and subscribed, of course. See you again soon. Bye.